The members of the Diecast Mafia are hosting Opa's TootsieToy Invitational. Opa has a YouTube channel and he builds quite a few different kinds of cars, but he truly is the king of Tootsie Toys, and he customizes these little things all the time. I've done some Tootsie Toy customs or restorations before, not many, probably 3, but they're always fun. And this seemed like a fun little escape, so I couldn't wait to get in on this invitational. So I'm doing the Dragster. The invitational was to customize a Tootsie Toy. Didn't have to be the Dragster, but the members of the Diecast Mafia are doing the Dragster, and I happen to have one of these sitting around, so I thought, well, what the heck, let's go with this one. As you can see, the body's in pretty rough shape, which I guess is kind of expected for a Tootsie Toy. And if you take a look up at the top there of the picture, you see a flake of metal. And that was the problem. It seemed like as I would file and sand and polish, I'd get flaking of the metal, and the metal kept getting worse. And these are cheap toys, so it's not surprising, but my thinking was I was going to polish this up, and I was going to go over it with the metal cast paint, not even spray it with a silver base. And that is what I ended up doing. It's just the sanding and polishing part of this didn't exactly turn out as nice and clean and shiny as I hoped. I'm still happy with it. Don't get me wrong. It's a Tootsie Toy. So, I wasn't expecting much, but there you see it polished up, and here I'm trying to get some of the polish out of the recesses and stuff before I also will degrease it and clean it off pretty well. But it had a lot of little nooks and crannies, so I needed to get the polish out of those spots. And it polished up well, but it wasn't as good as, say, you can polish up a Hot Wheels. The metal just wasn't as good. So I end up cleaning this as best as I can. And like I said, what I end up doing, I ended up basically painting some of the details. And there you can see where I painted black. I painted silver actually inside the cockpit of the Dragster. And here's the paints that I used. I used a variety here, as you can see. And I also used a Molotow pen. And what I did, I painted the details before I did the metal cast. I masked off. I tried a different liquid mask, as you see there, than I usually used. Because in the past, I've had problems with the Vallejo liquid mask as being just really thin. So I saw this one, thought I'd give this a try. And my thinking was I would mask off the polished windshield, and then after hitting it with the metal cast paint, I would peel that off and it should be nice and shiny. What I hadn't quite counted on was when I peeled that off, the metal was kind of cloudy, so I ended up trying to polish it again slightly. And so at this point, even though it's flipped upside down, so you can't see it, it has been hit, the polished body was hit with yellow metal cast paint. And then the details that I had painted earlier, I did have to freshen up again because the yellow, oddly enough, on some of the black is perfectly fine. The silver was pretty much perfectly fine. The brown I painted on the chute in the back, it basically turned completely yellow again. So I did repaint some details, then I went over the engine with the Molotow pen, and there's 4 little, I guess they're tabs that hold the body on to the vehicle itself. I mean, like in the real world, it would be that way. They don't hold the casting together. But I hit those with the Molotow pen to make them look a little better. I threw these Samed wheels on here. Had to size them up. And I really like the look of those wheels. I thought they fit this casting pretty well, and then I just ended up using a little CA glue to hold the axles in place. But it's still a roller. May not roll as good as the original Tootsie on those little narrow wheels. But here's where we started. I'd like to thank the Diecast Mafia and Opa for having this challenge. This was fun. And here's where I ended up. I think it looks a lot better than it originally did. And you can still see some of the roughness of the body. I thought about zinc plating it. I do have the equipment to do it. I haven't zinc plated anything yet. And I thought, well, I'm not going to start on this one. And then I thought later, I probably should have. This is probably the perfect starting point. But anyhow, there you go. Hope you like it. And it was fun. These are cute little turd cars. Thanks again to the Diecast Mafia. I will put links to their channels down below. Please check all of them out and everybody else participating in this event. Here's some glamour shots. There you can see the silver windshield. Now that is just bare metal. I did go over this with the Minwax clear poly once it was all done. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Hope you think so too. Thanks to my Patreon subscribers, and thank you all for watching. Everybody stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.